Hey, Lauren here. Let's talk fiduciary duty and why it is so important to, understand what that means. And there's a big difference of when someone does or does not have your best interest in mind. And so it is so important to understand fiduciary duty, and which is a term in U.S. legal code that basically means it's the highest duty owed to another person. In the interest, and you have to keep the interest of the principal above its own. So you have to do, when you act as someone's fiduciary or someone acts as a fiduciary for you, they have to put your interests above their own. And this term is used in real estate a lot because a agent that works for you is your fiduciary. So they have to put your needs above their own or anyone else's. And so that's a big difference between, in the state of Colorado, you have, if you are buying a home and you're using a realtor, you can either have a sales agent or a transaction broker. And the biggest difference is the sales agent works for you. You are there, or they are the fiduciary for the buyer. And a transaction broker is their interest, or their goal is to keep the best interest of the transaction, and which means they do not have your best interest in mind. They have the transaction's best interest in mind. So that is a huge difference. If you're ever confused about what that means, you're like, Lauren, what on earth are you talking about? Feel free to message me. It is of utmost importance. And you might think in another situation where this will come in play is if you are buying a new construction home and you're told you don't really need a broker, or you don't need a realtor, you can do it all yourself because you just don't need one. Or I hear that a lot with new construction homes. And the biggest thing that the home buyer needs to understand is that agent that is telling you that, they are legally obligated to have the best interest of their seller, not the buyer, because they are acting as a fiduciary for the builder, which means they have the best interests of the builder, not you. And it's so important to have someone that has your best interest in mind, which is why I always advise people to have a buyer's agent, because one, it doesn't cost you anything, and two, you need to have representation, especially when negotiations are involved or anything dealing with real estate, really. And so it's so very important when you have a new construction home. The sales agent for the builder is going to be great and so helpful. However, it is very important to understand that they are the fiduciary, or have a fiduciary responsibility to the builder, not to you. So thank you guys. Or if I've confused you or you're like, what are you talking about? My door is always open.